Hello everyone, this is Mr. Informal finally giving you the first thoughts, analysis, and rant for the 2021. So CES passed by. Not only that, Samsung has announced their flagship mobile phones, cell phones, whatever you want to call it. And so this is the thoughts, analysis, and rant on the Samsung Galaxy S21 and S21 Plus. Not only that, they both have 5G as standard. So again, this is Mr. Informal giving you my thoughts, analysis, and rant on the Galaxy S21 and S21 Plus. So let me give you my before I give you my thoughts, it's 2020 was an odd year. Well, I shouldn't say odd year. It was a disrespectful year. And here we are in 2021, kind of feeling odd, but we're ready to move on. But for some reason, not yet. But maybe, hopefully, these new phones will distract us from what's going on in the world. So, what are my thoughts on the S21 and S21 Plus? Not worth it. Terrible upgrade. I don't care if they lower the price. Don't even upgrade if you don't need to. There's nothing special about these phones. Not only that, they have downgraded instead of upgraded some of its parts. Now you must be wondering, why am I not happy about these two phones? Well, good question. Well, certainly when I get to the specs, you'll understand why. But it is an absolute disappointment. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's as if Samsung didn't do anything for the 2020. They didn't do any research and development. They didn't do anything. Maybe just sit there and draw things out, and then boom, hey, there's the S21 and S21 Plus. But you know what? Let's get to the specs. Okay, so first and foremost, both have IP68 dust and water resistant. Both have 1080 screen resolution. That's 2400 by 1080. 6.2 inches on the S21 and a 6.7 inch screen on the Plus. So that means that there's no 2K 1440p screen, as you can tell. CPU is now the new one called Snapdragon 888. That's 888. And then depending if you're in Korea, you're most likely get the Exynos 2100. Android 11, and then upgraded to One UI 3.1. Obviously, it has the Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, 120 hertz refresh rate, but not as standard. You still have to turn that on. Not only that, it's dynamic, not static. No SD card expansion slot. I'm not happy about that. The 128, the storage is 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM, and then you can also move up to 256 gigs of storage with 8 gigs of RAM. So there's no 12 gig option, just like the last year. It will come in 3 cameras, same camera as the S20. Nothing changed in terms of hardware. Only the software has changed based on Samsung press conference. So that gives you 12 megapixels f1.8 with OIS dual pixel, 64 megapixels f2.0 on the telephoto with OIS, and then 12 megapixels f2.2 aperture with no OIS. And then the front screen comes with 10 megapixels f2.2 dual pixel, no OIS. And again, they both have the same camera hardware and the same amount of camera. And so no headphone jack. It's always a bummer, right? Comes with Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.0. None of that. Comes with GPS, NFC. It does have NFC. and then USB Type C 3.2. It has a screen fingerprint. It comes with Samsung DeX, which is pretty cool. So the battery comes in at 4,000 milliamps on the S21, and then 4,800 on the Plus. Obviously, both of them will come with wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. And here's the kicker. So the colors on the S21 will come in gray, white, violet, and pink. But the S21 Plus will come in black, silver, violet, pink, gold, and red. Prices will start out on the S21 as $800, and then the Plus comes in at $1,000. So depending on where you live, that was $100 to $200 price reduction. So that is it for this. No, hold on. The S21 has a plastic back body, while the S21 Plus has an all metal body. And the screens for both of them are flat screens, not curved screens, such as what we previously had on the previous models of the S models. So that is quite interesting. So those are the specs. So moving on back to my thoughts. So as you can tell, the camera hardware is the same as the previous S20. Same amount. No OIS on the. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. So let me repeat that again. So same camera hardware. No 12 gigs of RAM option, even on the S21 Plus. One UI is still the same. No headphone jack. I mean, nothing much change. The only kicker is, the only best thing about it is the price reduction. So that is basically it. So going back to my thoughts, nothing changed. So why should I upgrade? If you have the S20, S20 Plus, or the S20 Ultra, why should you upgrade? You should not. You shouldn't upgrade. You should not upgrade. Why? Well, because of all the things I have explained, especially the specs. Now, moving on to the analysis. So, let's check the analysis. So, as you know, the smartphones are starting to plateau. And it's as if 2021, fittingly the name S21, is most likely the year that Samsung is maybe taking a break from research and development. Maybe there's no motivation. And so how will the market react? Well, the market will react as it typically reacts. Who has the better phones? Now, if I was Samsung competition, this is the best day of my life, knowing that these phones are not even worth its price, no upgrading parts, I mean typical design. And so if I was the competition, I would say this is the best thing that could have ever happened. Now I can actually make my phone much better than Samsung. Not only that, knowing that the customer realize that it's not a better upgrade, they're gonna look towards other companies such as my company. If I was LG, if I was maybe Motorola or even Nokia, I would say, hey, my phone is better. So this will be a down year for Samsung, and certainly in terms of their flagship, the flagship is not bringing anything new. Now, will they still sell a lot more phones compared to others? Of course, because of the partnership they have with USA carriers, whether it be AT&T, T-Mobile, or Verizon, whoever it is. And certainly they'll have rebates, trade-ins, and special offers, and the list goes on in terms of discount. But certainly, if you are an enthusiast, a fan, or especially if you're a fan of Samsung, certainly this is not a good day to be a fan of Samsung. And it's pretty sad in terms of the market. Well, we'll see if the market does respond like that in terms of Samsung stocks. Most likely it will either plateau, it will go down, or it will just be even or flat. Now moving on to the Rant. So S21 has a plastic body, and you're telling me it's $800? Not acceptable. Same design. I'll give him credit where it's credit due. The flat screen. Okay, that's fine. But I mean, same design. The camera hump on the back, it's terrible. I don't know why they contrast it. Why couldn't they just make it the same color? It's a terrible design. I don't know who even passed this or who even agreed to the contrast camera module part on the back. Now 1080 screen, so no more 1440. 1080 screen. Again, for $800, that's not acceptable. I don't care if you tell me that, oh, there's nothing wrong with 1080. Oh, come on. Like, how many years are we going to be stuck on 1080? Not only that, Samsung has the technology. So, 120 hertz refresh rate. So, basically, it's dynamic. The software is going to know when to turn on 120 hertz. So, it's terrible. Come on. Like, either you're with the 120 hertz or you're not. Pick one. You can't just, it's just gonna depend on what kind of things I'm doing on the screen. Again, the international market and the USA market or domestic market or the different market, you either have an Exynos or Qualcomm. See, I really don't like this. Just pick one. Either put it on the Exynos or you put it in the Qualcomm. That's it. The RAM, 8 gigs of RAM. No more option for 12 gigs. I think both of these phones should have 12 gigs of RAM across the whole model, but that's too bad. The camera hardware has not changed, which is absolutely disappointing. So you're gonna rely on Samsung software camera if you buy this phone. I don't know how that's going to be, but most likely it's going to be very saturated, like most Samsung are. These phones are big, 6.2 inch screen, and a 6.7 inch screen. You're telling me you can't even put a headphone jack? That's absolutely disappointing. Again, this is not the best that they could do. It's certainly, that's true, and it's absolutely disappointing. Look, I'll get another credit is that they took out Bixby button, so maybe that's something. But again, I don't know if people do use Bixby button, but I like where they went with that, so we'll see. And that's a long list of negativity. But in the end, the most disappointing thing about the S21 and the Plus is that you know that Samsung could do better, and yet they did not do it. And that's what's disappointing about it, is that we pay a high price for these phones and we are presented with a phone that was not the best. And I'm absolutely disappointed in this phone. I mean, what do you think? And so that basically concludes my thoughts, analysis, and rant of the Samsung Galaxy S21 and S21 Plus. Let me know down in the comments, and I'll read them. But if you have a different view than I do on these phones, just let me know. And so I will see you in the next thoughts, analysis, and rant. Bye bye.